Hey, Anthony, do you like my new shirt?
Sure, man. It's cool. Could have been better.
What was that?
I said it could have been better.
You want to fight about
Yeah,
it?
I do. Let's go, chump. Hold on a second. We don't need to fight.
We don't?
All you need to do is go to 86.com and choose from one of their many designs. Franchises range from Skullgirls to Street Fighter and even BlazBlue. And if you check out 86 through this Twitch channel, use 86.com/?AFF=4 to let them know that Mission Star Podcast sent you.
God, weird that Alex and I agreed on something.
What the hell's going on?
I feel unclean.
Well, hopefully, maybe this next segment will clean you, Alex. But more so for Greg, in a segment where he has. This has kind of been an old segment that he's brought back from the dead.
Well, it's a situation where from time to time, Overwatch actually does something where I talk about what they're doing because it's big, like a new character.
Yep.
Or like the new character's great, but there's actually something else I'm kind of wanting to talk about a little bit more. But I also didn't have anything that irritated me this last week, so I was going to do a Why You're Wrong, but it was going to be called Why I'm Wrong. And kind of go into why my opinion and shit and all this kind of whatever. It was going to be a funny thing, but Overwatch was like, nope, new character and another thing. I was like, okay.
Well, with that being said, it's time to roll the intro for the Overwatch Minute with Gregg Dietz.
Oh, well, intro?
No.
All right, I was like, I assume I'm good. Alrighty. So yeah, there's a new character that just came out. He's on the PTR right now. Hopefully he'll be out next week, probably a week after that. I'm seeing a lot of people say that his kit and the way that he plays is actually very well balanced and doesn't feel overpowered like other characters that have been brought in and had to have be adjusted. So that's good. I'm really happy to see that. That means that he's probably ready for play on the main system. But his name is Sigma.
Balls.
What's that?
Sigma balls.
That's that is a joke that I've heard 1,000 times at this point.
Had to do it.
But he's a 62-year-old man. He's an astrophysicist. His backstory, to get into vague terms, is that he was messing with gravity. He was trying to figure out how to harness gravity, causing black holes, like miniature black holes, and essentially via doing all of this, he lost his mind. It was institutionalized. And from what it seems like, he's trapped in his own head, essentially. And that this exterior version that's working for Talon, the bad guys within the universe, are utilizing him while keeping his actual consciousness trapped. So that's his backstory. Whatever. That's a whatever.
We're not even gonna touch on that.
Well, the reason I don't really want to get into that too much is because I'm sure they'll expand upon that later. I'm sure we'll see more on that or read more on that. So that's a different thing. But his role is a tank. He is a 3-star difficulty, meaning that his kit is a little bit more complicated than, like, let's say somebody like Lucio, who is probably a 2-star, or I don't know. The point is his kit's complicated because he has 2 hyperspheres. And the hyperspheres are interesting because they can bounce off surfaces and they explode on impact. Now, it's not a huge explosion, but it has a little bit of an area of effect explosion. So they could do some damage if you aim them correctly. I saw a guy on one map. He was bouncing him off the walls and hitting a Reinhardt from behind. So that was fucking rad. Yeah. He has an experimental barrier. So this is the tank shield, if you will, but he can deploy it in any direction, and he can deploy it indefinitely. So if he wants to throw it halfway across the map and just have it sit there, he can do that. Or if like there's a Pharah who's about to do her, oh my god, her ult, her rain of rockets. I'm trying to blank on the actual name of it for some reason. But anyway, he can throw it up towards her and basically throw his shield in her face to make her kill herself.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's that?
Can you put out the shield and use your black holes, your spears to bounce off of that?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, the experimental
That'd
barrier,
be broken as shit.
I was about to say.
experimental barrier is very much like Reinhardt's shield or Orissa's shield.
Gotcha. Okay.
The only thing that can't go through it is enemy projectiles. There's the kinetic grasp, which freezes incoming projectiles in midair, converting them into shields. So that's the thing about his experimental barrier, is it has energy. And the more that it's shot at, it loses that energy. To gain energy back into the shield, you have to use kinetic grasp. Otherwise, if you lose your shield and haven't gained any energy back into it, you can't use it. So unlike Orisa, who gets her shield back every fucking 6 seconds, and Reinhardt's, which charges back up over time, his can only be charged by using kinetic grasp. An ability.
He's a great counter against Soldier.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's fucking fantastic. He has accretion, which is he can gather debris and make a ball and then throw it, which can knock enemies to the ground. And then his ult is called Gravatic Flux, which is fucking rad. So it's a huge spot on the ground that you can't really see me because my camera's in a weird angle. It's a huge spot on the ground that covers just a pretty large area, and it throws enemies pretty high up into the air, and they can't come down for like a few seconds. I want to say at least 5 seconds, and they're just stuck in the air. This doesn't mean that they can't turn and shoot. It just means they can't. They'll drift. They'll just drift. Like they can't move. Basically, their gravity is shut off. That's his ult, and then he can also target one of them and slam them to the ground. It's a rad fucking ult. Like I've watched a few of it. There was a shot I saw the other day where he used his ult, threw an entire team up into the air, and then McCree used his ult like from a distance and got them all.
Fucking, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was dope. It was pretty fucking dope.
Sick.
Yeah, so I'm very excited for him to come to full play. It'll be pretty awesome to kind of team up with him with other heroes and see what they can do. So Sigma's awesome. However, the thing I really wanted to talk about is roll queue.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know when this is going to be implemented into the full game, but they're completely changing competitive. Now, roll queue is going to exist in other forms, in quick play and other things like that. But for competitive play, it's going to be very interesting. Because 40 seconds before the match even begins, you're going to choose a role. There's 3 roles. There's tank, damage, and support. And when you choose this role, that means that pool of characters is all you can choose from. You can switch between them on the fly, but this doesn't allow your team to essentially use goats anymore. This forces goats away. Now, if you don't know what goats is, if you're not savvy to the whole Overwatch lexicon, GOAT stands for greatest of all time, as sure as everyone understands. And it's 3 tanks, 3 support. They've given a lot of power to tanks and support, especially if there's a Moira who does a shit ton of damage from a distance. GOATs was a fucking tour de force in the Overwatch League. And people started using it in competitive play on the console. This completely went against the core idea behind Overwatch, which was a 2-2-2 system, and allowing a team to counter the other team. A lot of people complain that this takes away a level of freedom. I don't agree necessarily. It's just a new mechanic that you have to deal with and figure out behind. If somebody is playing support and they're not doing, like, they're playing a Lucio and there's a Moira and a fucking Winston on the team, they're going to fucking destroy that Lucio. So he needs to switch off of the Lucio and pick a different character that maybe can handle those 2 characters a little bit better. it's still going to be a counter-based system because the people who pick damage have a huge pool of characters to choose from. Like tank is if we include Sigma, is 8 characters and support is 7 characters. Every other character in the game is in damage. So there's a lot of play in there. But here's the thing that gets me the most. The thing that's cool about competitive play. Each thing, each individual role has its own SR. So it'll take right now it's 10 games in competitive in order to rank totally. For the next competitive cycle, as far as I know, it'll be each thing will take 5 games to get your SR. That way, like, you know, you can essentially see what you're better at. I imagine my SR and support will be much higher than my damage or tank role will be. As I'm terrible at aiming, I imagine my damage will be awful. I'll be very low rank on that. But yeah, it's fascinating to me just because it does take away a level of freedom that Overwatch always had. But what excites me is that when I'm playing competitive, especially in gold rank, which lower tier, I don't know why I get ranked in gold. It's like the game's telling me I suck, but I know I don't suck because I get gold all the time and medals. Anyway, I'm not mad about it.
Not salty, you're salty.
But the thing is that where was my thought process? Oh, I'm now not gonna have to deal with, you know, like me and my 2 friends play, and we're trying to fill in the gaps that the other players do, and all of a sudden we have a fucking Hanzo, a Widowmaker, and a Mei, while we're trying to play tank and like we can't do 2 tanks and 1 support, so we tried to do 1 tank and 2 support with just the 3 of us, and it's a fucking headache. So this will eliminate that. We'll always have 2 tank, we'll always have 2 support, and that is much, much, much more needed than anything else. So for me, this is a godsend. This is a holy shit, fucking matches are going to be better, but or at least less annoying. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I don't know. There's nothing more else to say to that. I think it's rad. And I don't know when it comes out. Like, I've heard September. I hope it's earlier than that. But yeah, that's it. That's it for the Overwatch, man. There's nothing really else that came out. They're forcing the 2-2-2 roll lock on Overwatch League in Stage 4. So I guess we'll get to see that before we get it, I think. No, it's already in the PTR. My bad. Roll Q is already in the PTR. So you'll probably watch a streamer play it. So there's that. But that's it.
All right.